What's up, everybody? This is your host, Rob Smith of the Homegrown Helpers, coming at you with another amazing episode from home growers just like you, ready to share their story and help growers around the world take those next steps in their garden and overcome some of the obstacles, some of the challenges that they're having, and achieve success and lessen that learning curve. Today's interview is no exception to that, and it's actually a very different interview than we've done before here. This is really our first autoflower grower, and I'm so excited for you guys to hear this interview. Today's interview is with Tyler from Kansas, and like I said, it's all about autoflowers. We really didn't waver off much of anything else. I mean, we talk about Tyler's history and gives a brief intro about himself, and then we dig right into his grow room setup, and that leads right into why he grows autoflowers and why he chooses this method of growing to supply his medicine. And that's what it's really all about, guys. You know, the reason we do this here at GrowCass and the Homegrown Helpers and our membership program, My GrowPass, is to provide you with the knowledge and education that you need in order to be successful in improving your self-sustainability, from getting away from the reliance on whether it's the black market dealer or the overpriced dispensaries, the overtaxed cannabis out in the world. We want you to know what you're putting into your plant, know what's coming out of it, and provide you with everything that you need to do that. So that's why chatting with people like Tyler and giving you different perspectives is what I absolutely love about doing these podcasts. So we just had our AMA. We our Ask Me Anything for our members, and during that had a ton of autoflower questions, and it was just very fitting that I chatted with Tyler the very next day, and it was such a great interview that I wanted to quickly turn this around and get it out to you. So without further ado, we'll get right into the people that make this show possible. That's our friends at Sweetleaf. That's SUITELEAF.com. And there you can find their award-winning full line of veganic nutrients, supported by Danny Danko, who is no longer of High Times and another friend of the show. But they don't offer just nutrients. So John and Meg, who've been on GrowCast, have expanded their line and offer a full range of hydroponic equipment. And their discount code, GrowCast15, GrowCast15, gets you 15% off everything on their site. Now, unfortunately, our members only receive 25% off just the Sweetleaf nutrients, but 15% off everything else. Head on over to sweetleaf.com, SUITELEAF.com, and use code GrowCast15 on all the hydroponic supplies, and show John and Meg some love. I mean, you'll literally find everything you need for growing right there. What else is going on? We just switched up our giveaway. What are we doing here? We just ended the Dino Myco giveaway, and we are going to be doing a Diamond Cutco giveaway now. So head on over to growcastpodcast.com/giveaway. Enter in. We're only collecting email addresses and names now. We switched from collecting shipping information, but you have 24 hours after I draw the winner to claim your prize. So give us your best email address. growcastpodcast.com/giveaway, Sweetleaf, and an amazing episode with Tyler. Thanks so much for listening, guys. And now let's get you into this great interview. And welcome to another amazing interview here. This has been a long time coming here. I have Tyler from Kansas on the line. And
what's up, guys?
How are you, Tyler?
Pretty good. How you doing?
Good, man. Tyler is the closet not the closet. Well, I guess you're from Kansas, so we'll call you the closet autoflower grower, okay?
Yeah. Yep.
So the closet autoflower grower has been a lot, like we haven't had one of these on the show, and Tyler's here to share his experiences. We've had tons of questions. I was just telling him, we're recording this on a Sunday morning, and I'm going to actually turn this around pretty quickly. Just yesterday, we recorded our member AMA, and we had so many questions about autoflowers. And Jordan has committed to being the autoflower guy on the team because he's just started up his grow. And Wolfman doesn't want to grow autoflowers, and Rich doesn't want to
No,
grow
he does not.
autoflowers.
No, he does
And
not.
I'm not growing, so Jordan's going to take that on and see what experiences he can pull from autoflowers. But Tyler is here, and Tyler's going to share his experiences with autoflowers from what was it, 2.5, 3 years of growing at this point in time?
Yeah, I
Cool.
just hit 3 years.
Awesome.
Just all autoflowers except for my very first go, because what got me started, I was talking about, I was kind of on the road back in the day from my previous job, and you drive through like all the legal states, and you get all the fun stuff. And I found, and I love rare dank. They're like one of my favorite.
Oh, they were the first breeder I ever fell in love with. Like
Oh,
I heard, and I don't even remember the podcast it was on, but I heard Scott talking about his strains, and it was actually what gave me the idea to do breeder features on GrowCast,
yeah.
because I love when a breeder just like gets
Oh,
impassioned.
yeah. You can tell he loves every
Yeah.
strain that he builds. It's so good.
And dude,
And like,
now all I've been doing is chasing him for 6 months to get him on GrowCast. So like, if anybody has some connections out there, like he goes like, yep, I can do it. Like, let's set a time, and I send him the link, and then it just never happens. So I want
oh,
Scott,
I'd
I
love
want
to
Rear
hear
Dank
that.
on there. I want Jordan to spend like 2 hours with the dude, just like digging into
Right.
the history
Pick
of
his
some of that
brain.
amazing stuff. Yep. So go on. You started with Rare Dank.
Yeah.
Yep.
I remember they had like those awesome little, like, kind of like cat food tins.
Mhm.
You like pop them. They're really nice. And it was cornbread, and there was a seed in there, and I was like, it just kind of snapped for me finally, and I was like, why am I not growing this? I was like, let me figure it out, So I went and got some horrible dirt and like, a little clip light that you would use just like in your garage, put it in my closet, and pretty much ruined that seed, you know. But through that process, fell in love and was like, I can turn this closet into something real. And I know how to. I didn't want to have to deal with long turnarounds, or like actual male females. So I thought feminize it first. But I was like, well, what if I just go with autoflowers and then try and do a perpetual grow in one tint? Because everyone has like 3 tints with their photo periods, and you look at perpetual grows and that's all you ever find. So I was like, I want to do 4 plants all in different time periods of their life in one tint, and always be harvesting and always planting. So I got into that, had a couple 10 ideas, big tents, little tiny tents under a desk and stuff. And then finally just got the exact measurements of my closet and found the tent that fit it. And it's a 2x4x6, one of those like rectangle ones.
Mm-hmm.
I have 2 HLG 150s in there. And it loves, like, I have a AC Infinity I just got, and
Nice.
love that.
Did you use that GrowCast 15 code?
I did, actually.
Nice.
I did.
Nice. Awesome.
It is the quietest thing ever, too. Compared to all the other ones, it is so quiet. Being like right next to it in my room.
I wish I knew about AC Infinity when I was, when I had my big grow. The timers and the switches and the sensors and the quietness, just like,
yeah, it's a
mind-blowing.
4-inch, and it has 18 different like settings.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So GrowCast15 at acinfinity.com. Check them out.
Get that, people. You will not be. Anyway, so my passion with autoflowers really started with just kind of seeing the people that actually are really into it. Like, I really like Chef Anna with the pot.
Mm-hmm.
He really like pushed me. Like, he's just all autoflower. He started Autoflower Day, and I love that. Actually, someone named Dr. Autoflower on YouTube, I followed for a long time. Mr. Canuck, all those people just really pushed me to be like, these people grow top-notch autoflowers that like look like photos, even though people are saying photos aren't as good. And I will say, yield-wise, I completely understand. That's fine. But if you don't have the space and you can jam 4 to 5 plants in there and get, maybe 40, 50 grams off each plant, and every 30 days you're harvesting, that's pretty much a win for me.
So you're harvesting how many plants every 30 days? Like, what's your
just
cycle?
one.
Just one. Okay.
So I have one in a dry tent right now.
Okay.
I have like a 2x2 tent with a inline and a DIY carbon filter I built,
Nice.
because you can't really pull it all through like a regular carbon filter through a tiny little inline.
So is that a DIY like sploof tube? Like we used to like.
No, I took 2 pencil cups, like mesh pencil cups.
Yeah.
And then line the inside of it with activated carbon that you can get from for your fish tank at like PetSmart.
Nice.
And then you take pantyhose and you cover both of them up and you put it on the end, and it's just like a carbon filter, no smells or anything.
Grower ingenuity right there, guys.
And
Like,
I'll say it's probably like rated for about 100 CFM. Like you can probably pull like with the small fan. It's
nice.
perfect.
Nice. Yeah. So we were just talking about this in our Slack channel the other day, and Tyler's committed to joining our Slack channel. I think this is going to go live pretty quickly. So, Tyler, are you available next weekend to do some Slack time?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Cool. So let's book it right now. How about a week from today?
Yep.
Next Sunday. So the 19th at 10 a.m., Tyler's going to be in our Slack channel talking about autoflowers. There's going to be a members only channel, and we'll get them in the all the channels, but also in the members only Homegrown Helpers episodes. Recap.
Yeah.
Chat.
Now you
Chat
won't
it
be able
up.
to get rid of me.
And we're also making an autoflower channel today, like after I get off this interview.
Oh,
So we'll
perfect.
get you in there, and we'd love for you to hang out, and our members would love to chat it up. They have tons of questions about autoflowers. So listeners, hit up the link tr.e/growcast or the Instagram bio link. Join our Slack channels, join our Slack community, and Tyler will be in there hanging out. So, Stoner. Oh, we were just talking about Stoner ingenuity and how it transfers into, like, we used to, when you run out of break your glass piece or something, you got to figure out how to smoke out of something.
Exactly.
And
that's my favorite part. And I want to do that with growing all the time.
Exactly. And like, well, I don't want to go to the store and buy something. And there's not something that I can buy. I have to make something. So good for you, man. I love doing these interviews and finding the DIY things that people have done and sharing those tips. So
you'd be surprised how much stuff you can actually like make with just like foil tape and some cardboard, that you don't need to buy on the Amazon or whatever.
Yep. So let's shift back a little bit and let's get into just a little bit about your history. And you moved from Florida to Kansas, and what kind of got you to this point where you've been growing cannabis for 3 years and using it, recreationally and medicinally?
Well, first off, I have cluster migraines. I got that when I was probably 8 is when they told me I had it, and it's horrible. There's no like real cure for it, and I wouldn't really say weed's a cure, but it really helps subside the pain enough to where I would spend my life dedicated to it, But I'm actually like a late bloomer. I went into the Navy right out of high school, so I didn't really start actually smoking until probably, let's say I went in when I was 19, did 4 years. So probably when I was like 24, 25 when I really got into it. And then I moved to Kansas after that, just because you come home from that kind of thing and everything's the same, So I just needed to change the scenery and fell in love with weed, just smoking in general and just being in that whole scene. And I don't know, just getting that seed at that one moment and being in the scene for so long, it just like clicked. I was like, why am I not doing this? Why am I not growing this? And like seeing that first little baby, I was like, oh, I know, this is it. This is what I'm going to be doing. And but smoking wise, I feel this always feels so weird because I'm like, oh, I started when I was like 25. Everyone's like, I was 14 and I was like in a trailer. I was 25 and I just bought some.
So was it friends or was it the medicinal value that kind of brought you to cannabis?
It was definitely more the medicinal value at first, because they tried lots of things with me, like even up to like acupuncture as a kid and stuff. And like I didn't like going to the neurologist and sitting there for like 2 hours with a net on my head and like telling me nothing. So and the only thing they ever give you is oxygen, and I'm not going to spend $800 on oxygen tanks.
Right.
I just got done making a tincture, and if I feel a headache coming on, I'll take one droplet thing full and be fine within half an hour.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But that's if I catch it. If I don't catch it, then it's going to be a different story. But
if you don't catch it, is smoking the quickest relief for you?
Yeah, it'd have to be a dab. I'd have to do a straight dab, but like trying to minimize the amount of smoke is really a big deal, because that will like make it worse.
Yep.
So like one like pretty good sized dab, like a pretty low temp one too, will pretty level me out enough to like relax enough to get through it.
Just curious because, my history as a caregiver always draws me back to making sure that people are taking the best care of themselves. And it really sounds
great. And I never hear people talk about like the migraine and cannabis connection ever. So I like to get that out there.
My sister-in-law and brother-in-law stopped by unexpectedly last night. We were just walking outside to smoke, and they were pulling in the driveway, and she was talking. She just started a new job, and she's not able to consume THC anymore because of the testing, because she drives company vehicles.
Right.
And my wife's like, if you get a medical card, like they can't legally fire you. They can't legally discriminate against you or any of that. And she was talking about she has wicked TMJ pain. And she says it's night and day. She tries the CBD and she has a CBD vape pen and it provides her some relief. She's like, but not like THC. Like,
Right.
she's like, I can take 2 hits and the pain is gone. And I'm like,
It's amazing.
imagine what it would be like if we could get you on like a 5 milligram tincture once a day, and like in the afternoon when you're, de-stressing and you just take a 5 milligram or, work your way up.
It's funny you just said that because I like literally this morning finished with a tincture that I let him sit for like a week. I decarb, let him sit for a week, and then I'll do like the crock pot thing.
Yep.
But then I'll take half of whatever my yield of tinctures and I'll put them in capsules.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll take 2 capsules every day.
Nice. Yep. Yeah.
And then just have that other just in case.
Bingo. And the medical side of this is just as important to me as teaching everybody how to grow. So thank you very much for sharing that.
Yeah, no problem.
So it's got to be extremely nice for you to be able to provide that medicine and provide that relief for yourself, right?
It really is. Like it's such a good feeling when you're grinding up your own thing, you smell it, and you're like, I know exactly what's in this.
Mm-hmm.
I know exactly where it came from. This is completely organic, and it's just like that feeling between you and the plant you've had that whole time, still there when you're smoking it. It's a beautiful thing.
Oh, dude, if you've ever listened to an interview, you've heard me say it before. This plant gives you as much and exactly what you put into it in return. So make sure that you're putting love and affection
I love talking
and effort
to
into
them.
it.
Opened up. Good morning. How you guys doing?
What's up, beautiful ladies?
Yep. Touching them, giving them dap. What up? High five.
Yep. Right on. So Tyler, let's get into this autoflower conversation. Like I said, we've had tons and tons of questions. The AMA, especially yesterday, and our experience from Jordan and my interviews, and being in the industry, is even the experienced autoflower growers seem split about 50-50 on all the major, growing style differences of autoflowers. And I'd like to get your opinion on some topics, and the topics are going to be like plant training, up potting, so transplanting in between or at any point in time in the autoflower grow, and the light cycles. Is there any other topics that you think is kind of controversial in the autoflower game?
All right, well, I'll say topping. Let's do that one first. I actually was one of the people that's like, you cannot top an auto. You can't do it. You're gonna you're gonna stun it. You're gonna do whatever. But I had never done it, and I had you're gonna love this. I was training just a little too much and just broke the top off, right? And I did it like 3 times in a row with 3 different plants. So it's like, okay, but 2 of those plants turned out stunning, like just bigger and fatter than I'd ever imagined, and they were actually ones I ran before. The third one I don't really count because it was my first time running it, so I don't really know how the genetics worked anyway. But I think it has to do totally with like what your genetics are. Some will probably take it, like I have one right now that I did on purpose. That was just a Northern Lights auto, and it's not taking it so well. Like it's very droopy and like sad since I've done it. Like the bud formation's still not really taking off from now, but it's been about a week now, so it'll probably might take off now. But I'm thinking I did stun it, which is understandable. It's an experiment plant already. I have it in a 2-gallon pot with a solo cup sticking out of the top because I have a theory about autoflowers that if it's the height of the taproot hitting the bottom of the pot is when it's going to flower.
Okay.
So if I can get taller plots with less soil, I can fit as many more and then get bigger plants. It's kind of what I'm trying to think, but I'm still working on it.
So go back to that theory. I want you to repeat that. So I need to take it in. Everybody else can rewind that shit.
All right. So when I heard about ruderalis, they are grown where it's like a rocky soil.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So whenever the taproots hit those rocks, it pretty much changes it into flower.
Right.
That's kind of what keys it.
Yep.
So in my head, that's kind of when the taproot hits the bottom of the pot.
Mm-hmm.
So I took a smaller pot, but then took a solo cup and made it taller. So it's the same height as a 5-gallon now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's growing just like the 5-gallon ones would.
Okay.
Instead of like the 2-gallon one. So it took longer for that taproot to hit the very bottom of the pot, and that's what triggered it to flower. So it had more time to veg and get bigger.
Interesting.
But it's only the 3rd time I've done it, so I'm not really sure. but they all have turned out pretty like much bigger than they would just in a 2-gallon pot.
Okay, and you're doing this because you can conserve soil
and fit more in the tent.
So you can fit more pots in the tent.
Yeah, so if I could do 2 every 30 days in smaller pots but have more buds.
Right. Okay. The theory makes complete sense to me. Have you thought about using like hydrogen and in the bottom of a pot and seeing
I've actually I used to just use the pots you'd pour like the water in the side and they just seep it up from the bottom.
Yep.
You know, because when I was on the road, that's when I started.
Yep.
And I couldn't be there for like 5 days, and I was like, let me just try this, and it kind of worked. You know, like they were, I guess you could call them plants, but it wasn't anything like you would really want. You know, but I've tried what are those little brown circle stones?
Yeah, the hydrogen stones.
Are those hydrogen? Yeah, I've tried just straight hydrogen, like on the bottom, like probably third, and I like it, but all the roots get out. Like they start like coming out of the bottom and everything and dying off.
I was just wondering if
that's bad. I don't know.
I was wondering if that would kind of mimic the rocky conditions of the autoflower. And
well, I thought about like gravel, like that really small gravel you put in like a fish tank.
Yep.
Yeah, like that too. Anything really.
I mean, really, like just rocks. I mean, like why not? I mean, I've definitely had friends that have put stones in the bottom of their 200-gallon outdoor pot for aeration. So maybe it kind of has the same effect. Very interesting. Yeah. So you're a fan of topping. You've seen yield increases. Is that correct?
Correct. Okay. And then training. I love training.
Okay.
Training is one of my favorite things to do. It's almost like a bonsai thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's very calming just to be in there and like time down, work them, And like you can see where like sometimes you just didn't do it right, like sometimes this is taller than this. And it's like I'll work on that next time. And I love that about it too. But with autoflowers, you have way less time, I found, because I've been snapping all these tops. Like once it's in that flowering stage, like then they start getting that real rigid, like that real stocky thing, and then you can barely like break that membrane with your fingers and get them going.
Right.
So it's mostly if they're in flower already, you're pretty much stuck with the shape you have. Unless they're like long, lanky ones. Like I just had a Bubba cheese that was just like long lollipops, and pretty much, and I could just put them wherever they wanted.
Even with an autoflower, long and lanky, huh?
Oh yeah, I've had all different shapes. Like I have the Bruce Banner going right now that's almost done. It's going to come down tomorrow, and it is like the weirdest bubbly looking. I don't even know how to explain it. It looks like a bunch of grapes, like just put on the plant. It's beautiful. It stinks too. It is one of the stinkiest things I've ever grown.
Well, awesome. So you top, you train, and I remember seeing light defoliation. Like,
oh yeah.
So some of these things are very controversial in the autoflower game.
Oh yeah.
So it's wild to me that not wild. I mean I just want to get your take. It's crazy to me that there's so much. Misunderstanding
or like genetics and timing. Like I think all the people like did try it one time in like 2008 and it went horrible.
Right.
They like lowrider and it was like 2 gram plant and it was crap. Like, and I understand those all looked horrible back in the day. That's not the case anymore. Like with Mephisto and like not even that. Like there's like Touch Passion. They've been around. Like I've tried so many different breeders, even ones that like aren't even named like big names, and like have gotten some amazing plants. Like I pull around. It's not like I'm not about yield. I don't really care about the yield. It's just about having my own personal for my like health and everything.
Yep.
But like I do like to know every now and then, like if it's a big one, I'll be like, hey, well, what I get? And like I get anywhere from like 40 to 60 grams off each plant, which is pretty great for every 30 days. It'll last me, I'll have a couple jars.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's when you're growing for yourself, like you said, it's not about yield. Right. If you have a little extra, you can share it with your friends. But when you're growing for yourself, it's about, supplying yourself. And if you have too much, then you need to find somewhere else for it to go. And
I also like to press. I have like a hair straightener and a Irwin 300-pound clip that I like to press rosin with.
Yeah.
It works great.
Right on. So those are the low temp pressed dabs that you're doing to relieve those cluster migraines. Good.
Oh yeah.
Glad there's no solvents involved.
Get some butter, Works every time.
Yep, right on. And are you using that rosin to make your tinctures and
No, the
butters and
tinctures will
stuff?
be rosin pucks and trim
Okay, cool.
mostly.
Yep, rosin pucks are great too. So I did want to just shift right into that genetics conversation because we were going in that direction.
Right.
I wanted to pick your brain about your experiences, and my biggest downfall of growing autoflowers all the time is that when you find that plant that you really, really like, you can't keep those genetics around.
Oh yeah.
So what's your experience has been chasing those genetics and the variabilities that you've seen when you've grown out the same strains over and over again?
Well, so being a closet grower, you're only going to buy I only buy like a pack of 3 seeds, here or there, So if you do find one, you only have 2 more chances most of the time to get that one, and it's not going to be there. And I've definitely hit it right on the first one and been like, oh my goodness, I cannot wait to grow these other 2.
Right.
You do everything the same, and it's like, what is this?
Right.
This is good, but this isn't what I want.
Right. Yep.
And I feel that, listening to that one. I can't remember if it was a long time ago. She was talking about topping and like actually cloning autoflowers. Like blew my mind that you could do that. And I've tried and it hasn't gone very well, so I might wait a little bit longer because autoflowers aren't super easy to grow. They can be finicky, so you don't want to like be too hard on everything all the time.
Right.
Keep the experiments to one thing and like one at a time. I like to keep everything super simple. So
yeah, all the things that we were talking about are stress inducers for the plant. And when it comes to autoflowers, you were saying they were finicky. So let's talk about the genetic variabilities that you've seen. And does finicky does finickiness kind of change as well as plant structure, bud structure? Like what's the variabilities that you see with your autoflowers?
I think the biggest variable would be yourself as a grower.
Yep.
Because one of my first plants, the light wasn't close enough or something like that. So I'd have like really stout, really tall, lanky, weird plants with like really fluffy buds. But then like once I got it figured out, it's all around what they say it's going to be, kind of like when they give you those directions on the back of the pack, Yep. It's going to be like maybe 2 inches taller than that, or like, how it is if you see the picture on the internet. You're not going to get that exact picture,
right?
So you got to get that out of your mind first off. Like in my beginner brain, I used to be like, I'm not getting it right because it's not that picture,
right?
But like instead, you're like, you're getting it right, but it's turning out like through its environment, So I can have a seed and it's going to be completely different from you get because your humidity might be 30% more. Just something little like that is going to make this thing express itself differently.
It's a different light. It's a different airflow. It's a different temperature. Yeah, totally.
Exactly. It's just one thing, every time.
So Tyler, I need from your medical perspective and your growing perspective, one of my major concerns has always been, for the legality of this plant, has always been that I can give a dozen different growers the same literal cut. I mean, we're showing this or seeing this in grow off challenges across the country. We can give growers the same cut from the same mom, let alone different seeds, and get completely different looking and cannabinoid content, terpene profile. So from your experience, how does that affect you medically when you find that one, Bubba Kush that that one seed helped your migraines really well, but the next 2 didn't? Like, do you notice the genetic expression change?
I do. I usually, when I do get seeds, I get mainly towards the indica heavy ones,
Yep. I would
like
imagine for migraines and stuff,
Yeah, it doesn't matter to me. I'll wake up, smoke indica. It's fine with me.
Right.
I'm about it. But I understand where you're coming from. Like I would if it was legal. I'd have a tent just for if I want chocolate more than anything. That is it's like my white rhino. I need to find it. I need it. And like the auto version of it, it's just not there. So I have to wait until I get into a legal area or like they come out with a good one.
Right.
But I'd have my own separate tent for that just so you get like your medical, actual medicine. But then you could just have autoflowers for fun. It could just be a house plant. You could just put this out on like a kitchen.
Totally.
Get a couple grams on it just for fun if you wanted,
Well, my concern with the legality of, medically anyways is, and your experience backs it up, is that I can't tell you to go smoke chocolate, and you have the same experience at every time you're going to smoke chocolate,
Right.
because the way that it's grown is going to affect that. And I think we'll see legal cannabinoid profiles, in extracts or in a pill form, and it can be extracted and formulated down from the plant, so it can be still whole plant medicine. But I think I just don't know if any FDA type organization is ever going to be able to get behind cannabis as a medicine, where you can say, go smoke Blue Dream. It will relieve your migraines.
That's true. Everything is very massive, like every different thing for different people,
Yep.
different strains. One strain could put someone to sleep and wake them right up. Someone else,
Right. I mean, it's not ever going to be like ibuprofen, where, you take 2 or 400 milligrams of ibuprofen, and for 97% of people, it's going to take care of your headache.
I also think that's why I love it so much, though. I think it's like the hunt. It's the, it's
That
all
pheno
these random
right.
expressions you're going to get, and like seeing all these beautiful different plants you can find, and figuring out like where exactly, because it's mostly terpenes, that helps the
Right.
most. So
Yep.
finding the right terpene profile to help me has been like my biggest goal right now.
Yeah, but then that brings me back to my problem with autoflowers, that you find
Right.
that one and you're like, that's the one, and I'm never going to get it again.
But then it always just comes back to legality. Like I just have to keep it small. And like if I do it too big, like I have all the smell and everything taken care of. I have a carbon filter, like a real one, on
Yep.
the end of my AC Infinity.
Yep.
And my window, I have it very slightly cracked, and then like the blinds down, and then on the inside a cardboard like wall.
Yep.
And then the tube running out of my closet into that. But it's detachable, so if someone comes like to the house, like an AC guy or something, I can just detach it, throw it in my closet, and you can't hear anything.
Wow.
You can just come in my room and it looks like a room.
Right on. Right on. So I just have a couple more questions about autoflowers, and it really comes down to, like we're talking about the stress that we're willing to put our plants under. What happens when you put an autoflower under too much stress?
Oh my goodness, you get a lot of wacky stuff. So like the one that I accidentally topped recently, the Northern Lights, it has been very droopy, like to the point where it looks like it's just got its arms down all day, and then maybe for like 2 hours it'll perk up, be normal, and then like 4 hours from like it going to sleep, it'll just lay back down. But every day you can see it kind of coming out of that, and you get that kind of weird stuff. But then like you'll get I like to keep the big leaves on the bottom most of the time if I clean everything up, just to be like teller leaves to tell me if anything's going to happen.
Yep.
And
nice.
you'll get some crazy like mixture of deficiencies and things if you like. I've used old soil before and had like 4 or 5 different things happening at once, and you're like, I just can't take care of it. But the thing about autoflowers is you don't really have to worry about it, because you have maybe 30 days left or something,
Right.
So you just take it to the end and get what you get and then start over, which I also like that. Because like if I had a big old room full and then I mess it all up, that's a lot of work that down the drain,
Well, another pro about autoflowers that you just made me realize is the quick turnaround and the quick learning cycle.
Oh yeah.
So if you make a mistake and you can be like, well, I'm just going to start a new plant tomorrow, so it doesn't really matter. I can make this better the next time, and it's not.
I love making mistakes. That's my favorite part.
Right
I like
on.
mess it up, and I'm like, all right, let's not do that next time.
All right. All right. So
Perfect.
So I don't want to lose track of the autoflowers, but I will ask you, because it's one of the biggest themes of the show, what is one of your biggest learning opportunities, i.e. mistakes, but not yet. I'm just going to take a quick break and thank our partner for today's show, and that's our MyGrowPass.com sponsor, and that's Dino Myco. They are our brand new friend. We just finished up our giveaway, very successful giveaway. Tons of people entered. They want to try out that Myco. We gave away samples. They've just been a great partner for us as we've been kicking things off. Head on over to DynoMyco, DynoMyco.com. Use the code GrowCast. Save yourself 10% off in their Amazon store. The code does work on Amazon, guys. I assure you that. I've tried it. I've tested it. Members receive 25% off. That's on the bigger sizes on that store. But they're giving away a bunch of stuff. They take care of us. The Myco takes care of their plants. This stuff was designed for the cannabis plant. I really can't go into all of the specifics because I don't know. But what I can tell you is that it's exhibited 20 to 30% yield increases without changing anything else in commercial trials across the globe. It's from Israel, the birthplace of medical cannabis, and these guys are doing it right. So check out Dynomyco at dynomyco.com and use code GrowCast. What's up, everybody? I almost forgot to mention that Tyler is going to be joining us in our Slack channel this Sunday, the 26th, at 10 a.m. Tyler's going to hang out and answer all your questions, and you can join just by following the link in our Instagram bio or at linktr.ee/growcast. We'd love to have you hang out and answer questions and just talk about growing autoflowers with Tyler. We'll see you there. So we're going to get back to the autoflower conversation here with Tyler, and then we're going to hear about his biggest learning opportunity, i.e. mistakes in the grow room. So Tyler, talking about stress, the last stressful type thing, two things, I guess. How do you feel about up potting? Gathering from our conversation, it doesn't sound like you do it too much, but how do you feel about up potting autoflowers during their growth cycle?
Back in the day, I used to do it. I used to start in like tiny little solo cups.
Yep.
and move on up. I would say it's all about timing when you do that. You get them young, right. And then like into like, I would only go from a solo cup to like their last pot. I wouldn't do like the middle pot like you would with a regular photo, just because you don't want to give it too much extra stress. But I've done that, and I really didn't see any like problem with it. But like when you do it, you gotta be real careful. I like to use like Myco up in there, like I can't remember what it kind of use, like Great White or something. And
Dynomyco.
Just be real gentle.
So real gentle. So you typically go maybe a 1 to a 5 or a 1 to a 7.
Yeah, 5 is the biggest I like to go.
Okay.
Because I've you look through the roots afterwards, and it really doesn't fill the pot all the way.
Yep.
That I like, well, just because of the light I have. Like if I had a bigger light, I bet it would just blast through that.
Cool. And speaking of lights, what about your light cycles? We hear a lot. We don't typically suggest 12-12 or 24 on, but what do you hit your autos with?
So since it's summertime, I like to go 18-6.
Okay.
Because I like to have them off during the day, just to keep it cool and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But wintertime, I'll do 20-4.
Okay.
And you definitely get like a little quicker growth out of it with the 24.
Yep.
I wouldn't do 24 off and on, not because I have any scientific proof, but like if I was a plant, I would want to go to sleep,
right?
For a little bit.
Yep.
I'd be tired from like all my photosynthesis all day.
Yep. That's exactly what we said yesterday during the AMA, was that I used to veg my plants under 24 hours of light, and when I gave them rest time, even 18-6, they would grow faster because they didn't have to grow all the time. So
yeah, that nighttime growth is crazy.
Yep. And yeah, I mean, coming in and turning the lights on and seeing that your plants are bigger is like, oh, that's weird, isn't it?
That's one of my favorite things. You come in, you're like, that is like an actual inch or two bigger.
Right. Or that's a whole nother leaf since I was in here 4 hours ago.
Good morning to you.
So last question about stress with autoflowers. Have you ever had an autoflower hermy? Like, does that hermy? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So
I used to get a lot of regular, it was hard to get seeds back in the day, autoflower seeds. So I would just kind of get whatever I could, and it'd be like some local foil, not the best genetics thing, but they were always regular. They weren't any feminized.
Mm-hmm.
And I would tell you, man, I'd get probably 90% Hermes out of all of those and just be aggravated. But like the one that I would get would be so good that it'd just keep me going. Like, all right, and like everyone says genetics, and that's such a big deal. It is. Genetics is such a big deal. That is like, it's lights. Genetics is like the second one, in my book. Like you need it.
Yeah, lights is typically the one thing that I say, like, make the investment on light. Everything else can kind of come secondary.
Oh, yeah.
Don't start off with top of the line genetics because you're going to make mistakes. And then you're like, oh, I paid, $100 for that one plant. And, like, grow a couple bag seeds the first time or get some strains gifted to you and then make that investment.
Also, don't overlove it your first time.
Yep.
I call it the honeymoon phase. Where everyone's just like, I'm in love with this and I just want to be with you.
Yep.
Like all the time.
Yep.
Like that's just how it feels. Like
there's
your
a
first
little
year, you're gonna be that.
Oh, what's that growth there? Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're like, oh, it's a little yellow.
So, Tyler, I really appreciate your time today. I can't thank you enough for all the autoflower talk.
Yeah, no
I'd
problem.
like to wrap this up with what do you view as your biggest learning opportunity, i.e., mistake in the grow room?
I thought I had to go like big with the lights right out the gate. Everyone's like, I got 1,000. I got this giant whatever this. But I really am proud that my whole grow, fans, everything is less watts than a toaster.
Wow.
It's about 270 watts, and it works perfectly. It costs about $10.75 a month, right? So that's $30 for 60 grams I'm getting,
Wow.
which is great in my book.
Yeah.
So I would think just being able to like be that efficient and that small when everyone's like, you got to do all this big stuff. You need the big old pots, like I like to show people you can do this too if you need to, like no one has to have like a giant farm in their backyard.
Mhm.
Like just do this in your closet if you want. Help yourself.
So that I just have so many more questions. There's so much benefit to growing for yourself, and not really questions, just an inspirations, I guess.
Yeah. That's my favorite part, just the act of doing it. Like if I have any advice for anyone, just try it. Just get a seed and some dirt and do it.
and
mess up,
be
you're
okay
gonna
with
love
making
it.
mistakes. And
Yeah.
Man, I can't wait for you to be able to grow in a legal state. I'd love to see what you do with some
Oh my goodness. I
space
want
to
to put one
grow in.
outside and just see what that does.
Yeah. Well, how can people find and connect with you, Tyler?
Well, I'm kind of like the wolf man. I don't have anything.
Right on.
Yeah, I'm not a big social media guy. I like YouTube, but I don't really have any. I used to have videos back in the day, and then they did the whole YouTube
Cool.
cleaning of us, and I got taken down. So that was it for that.
Well, I gotta know personally, like, how'd you end up, getting on the show with me?
Oh, I went to the.
Oh, I know the forum.
homegrown-
How'd you end up on that?
Oh, I have an Instagram, but there's no photos. Or anything.
You're a lurker.
I just lurk around. Yeah, I just lurk around. Everyone hates on me.
Yeah, no. I don't hate the lurkers, man. I'm a lurker on pretty much everything except for Instagram.
Oh yeah.
I'd rather lurk in the shadows, anyways. So I'm right there with you, buddy.
Yeah, I'm a happy lurker.
Well, Tyler, thanks so much. Audience, you cannot find him, except you're going to be able to find him in our Slack channel.
That's right.
So this Sunday, after this goes live, July 19th at 10 a.m., and sounded like Tyler was interested in kicking it there for a while. So I'm going to make an autoflower channel right after this. Find us in Slack, Sunday the 19th at 11 a.m. Until then, happy growing. Get yourself a rating and review on your favorite podcast app, or just follow us on Instagram. Thanks so much, Tyler, and thank you, audience, for listening.
There, guys.